The Rickey, Smiley morning show.
It's the front page news.
It's what's trending now.
Over the weekend, T.I. and his son King Harris were involved in a heated argument regarding the teenagers' silver spoon upbringing while they were attending the Atlanta Falcons game. Now, the whole situation allegedly started when T.I. and King began disagreeing over King's upbringing, stating that he grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Now, T.I. then questioned his son about the experience of being subjected to poor living conditions, while Tiny then chimed in asking did he ever have a roach crawl in his ear. Now, King interjected by claiming that he often spent time at his grandmother's house instead of his parents' home and often got into fights as a child.
Here's a clip. All right,
So during the confrontation, I got it, Rick. During the confrontation, after King inadvertently pushed his mom, I didn't know that. Tiny Harris, things got physical as T.I. put King in a headlock and told his son, "You embarrassing yourself and your family. Boy, you can't do nothing with me," he says, while others attempt to defuse this altercation before the Instagram Live ended. Ooh.
Yeah, now the teen then alluded to being told his birth was a mistake, while again accusing his father of fabricating an image, saying, "If I'm a mistake, say that and stop making the world think you rock with me when you don't."
All right, here's a clip right here.
Have you ever woke up with a roach on your face?
Period. No, that's not the goal.
All right, then. There it goes.
Or in your ear.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I had in the neighborhood with me that woke up with roach in your ear.
Y'all want to go to the bando and man my neighborhood? Do y'all want to go to the bando? Do y'all want to go to the bando?
To make him look better, he said he know not true. Silver spoon, I ain't never ate with that day a day in my life.
Yeah, Brett, what are your thoughts? And then we coming at this from a respect because we are close to T.I. and Tiny. They are personal friends of ours.
I think they were all joking, and he got offended. I think the King got offended. He shouldn't have got offended, and then he just started taking it far to the left where it shouldn't have went.
But I think there's some other layers to this, and coming from
he still should have shut his mouth. That's
right.
His mother. That's his mother.
There's
and
never
his
an
father.
excuse to disrespect your parents, especially in public. Coming from a background where you had, as a father, I've had difficult situation raising one of my kids. You know, and things, a lot of time, I think there's some other stuff going on beneath the surface between him and his parents that they probably need to deal with in some type of family therapy.
But
you don't disrespect your parents.
Damn right.
You don't talk to your dad like that. You don't talk to your dad and say
or
the things he said, or your mama. You don't do that.
Your mama trying to quiet you down and let you know, hey, shut up, and you still talking.
And guess what? And when she says shut up, that's the end of it.
That's the end of it.
Because when I watched that video clip, when Tamar Braxton mama told her to be quiet.
Hello?
On Ayanla. She said, you say one more word, I got you. And that's a grown woman sitting there now.
Yes.
And she got quiet. See, Kay, this thing is about respect.
Yes,
right.
Lord, yes.
And I don't care what nobody say. We give the kids, this generation, they get to do whatever they want to do. They get to say whatever they want to say. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Okay, if a kid wake up and want to eat Skittles for breakfast, now we got to let them have whatever they want, as opposed to what I say. I had to tell my grandson, son, you don't ask for, is what I put down. Right. Whatever I put down for you to eat, you bless it and eat it.
There's a line you can't cross.
You damn right.
As a child, there's a line you can't cross, period, point blank.
And even though they use the word inadvertently, when you pushing your mama, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, you don't put your hands on your mama. You don't act like I don't care. Even if they wrong, you don't say nothing.
Yeah,
man.
You got to take it.
I had to have a real conversation with my mom, right? About how I was feeling about some stuff. And I went to the airport, and I had my head in my lap, and I was crying because I was so scared that my tone. Listen to me now. I know I didn't go off on my mom.
Right.
It was just a tough conversation we had to have. But I had my head in my lap because I was so scared deep down in my heart and my soul. And I had to call my mama back to make sure that my tone was respectful and in place. And I did not raise my voice. I just want to make sure that my tone was appropriate. And if it was not appropriate, I apologize. My mama said, no, you didn't say nothing wrong. and your tone was very respectful. Because I don't know why I was so scared. I'm sitting at the airport. I'm a grown-ass man, but I was scared.
Because, deep down, there's a line you just don't cross as a child to a parent. I don't care if you 19 or if you 59, there's a line you don't cross when it comes to talking to your parents. Period.
I think, too, Special K, you brought up a good point about maybe there is some need to have a conversation in the background. There's a quote that says, every obnoxious act is a cry for help. And maybe there's something going on with him that makes him feel disconnected from the family. And just from my perspective as a parent, if me healing some trauma between me and my child is at the expense of being embarrassed publicly, I don't mind, because my family comes first. My family, it comes before everything. And so I hope that, they heal, and I hope everything gets sorted out. I hope that King understands the seriousness of his actions and the impact that it has, not only on T.I. and Tiny, but also his siblings.
This ain't the first time King has done something like this, and they probably told him several times. I've witnessed T.I. telling him, chill out, whatever, trying to give him advice on what to and what not to do. He's decided to do whatever he wants to do. And it's disrespectful. And you need to figure out how to listen. Whether you need counseling or not, you still need to shut up and listen to your parents.
I mean, bottom line. And I'm going to say this right here.
I think we can all agree
on that. Say this right here.
Yeah.
I don't care what all y'all, everybody that's out here listening to us in the car, at the end of the day, honor
thy mother
and thy father, that thy days may be long.
Come on now.
Do you understand that? Mm-hmm. Just that part right there, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. How about I didn't open up a Bible? How about I got that memorized? That's embedded in my heart. You don't put your hands on your mama.
Oh, I didn't even know that part.
You don't push up. You don't push up or buck up against your dad.
You don't.
Do you understand that?
You don't.
And what is he trying to prove by going live on Instagram? Even if he was already live when this started, he should have got off.
I'm gonna tell you something. I don't care. the scariest thing in the world for me, and I done lived this, and I done seen this. I done seen my grandparents sitting on the front row crying, burying their son, which was my dad, because he did not honor. It's serious. We can't do this. I don't care how mad you get or how, even if they wrong, you can't.
They dead wrong.
You got to have a certain level of humility and have respect for your parents, man. God is watching. Honor your mother and your father, period, point blank, bottom line. We pray for them. T.I. is my brother. Tiny is my sister. We sit at the table and break bread. We eat chicken and dumplings together.
Yeah.
And I love them. I love them like a brother and a sister. Anything we ask Tip and Tiny to do, they always come through for us. We are personal friends that we all grew up in this industry together. Right. And King is like a nephew to us. We saw him when he was a baby. And we just hate this.
Yeah,
I just hate it because it's affecting me.
I would love to talk to King, like for real, from another male mentor type situation.
He's not gonna want to listen to you though. He don't want to listen. He's in his own way, like he's in his own way.
And that be the scary part right there. When they get to a point where they don't want to listen. When my grandmama pointed at my dad, and she told me this a long time ago before she died. She said, "Baby, you got death on you." She pointed at him. She told him, she said, "Baby, you got death on you." When an old person point at you and say, "I'm gonna turn you over into the hands of the Lord,"
you better go to church.
You better go to church and get your life right with God, and get some of that whatever you got in you out of you, and get right with God and get yourself together, man. Because if God take His hands off you, man, I'm telling you, the worst thing we don't want to see Tip and Tiny go through what I done been through and what my grandparents done been through. We done been through this stuff. And it's horrible. All right, Rick's Smiley Morning Show. Jeff Johnson got 3 things you need to know. What up, Jeff?
You know, the most important thing that I think I've ever done is be a parent. And I've got 5 kids, 24, 21, 20, 6, and 5. So I've been doing this a long time. And I just when I saw this Tip and Tiny and King thing, like my heart, like just is in knot. My stomach is in knots. My heart is breaking because one, I just don't think any family should ever have to have a crisis moment that goes public. Like I don't think all of us, I don't care who we are, have had a moment with our kids, with a spouse, with a loved one, that we don't want the public to see. Because in some cases, all of us are not in our best spaces. So that's number one. Number two, I really was listening to you all talk about this notion of how kids got to get their stuff together, how you never talk to your child, you never talk to your parents this way, you never do your parents this way. Man, we already know, and I think Brad said it, this is not the first time that kind of thing happened. Like this is something that has been ongoing, and I think that one of the things that's really hard for parents is sometimes we evolve to a place, and the moment we evolve to a place where we become our best selves, then we have to deal with the trauma our kids have from us not being our best self. And that's not an indictment against Tip and Tiny. I think that's all of us. How many of us as parents have been in a place where we evolve beyond some of our stuff, we evolve to another level, but our babies are now a reflection of who we were before we evolved. Right. And that's why this whole counseling piece is so important, because King is crying out for help on a whole lot of levels, and no, it doesn't justify. But I know I deal with that with my own older sons. I know friends of mine that deal with that with their kids. And I think as parents, sometimes our parental ego and the parents we were raised by gets in the way of the healing process that has to happen. No, it don't make these babies right. Right. Yes, they need to be checked when they're out of pocket. Yes, they need to be told there's a way to do things and not do things. But that on its own doesn't bring healing. That just brings accountability. And we got to decide as parents, are we interested in both? Are we interested in ensuring that our kids have accountability, especially our older kids, and that they have healing? Or are we only interested in them being accountable?
I'm going through it right now, Jeff.
Yeah, listen, man. I put my parents through it, though, right? So I think about the challenges I have with my 21 and my 20-year-old sons. I'm raising myself. Yep. And so the question for me is, do I do the same thing that my parents did that was the best they knew how to do? Or do I learn from what both I was and who my parents were, understand my parents did the best that they could, but there were things they didn't know, that my kids are me in a lot of ways dealing with stuff that I don't really understand. And as much as I'm having a difficult time with the accountability piece, I need to make sure that my kids understand that I love them and that I want to understand them, not just hold them accountable. And it ain't easy, man, at all. Like Kay, how are you managing it?
I mean, it's an ongoing process. Me and Rick talked about this. It's just been ongoing for me for the last 15 or so years with my oldest son. You know what I mean? And we're in a better place now than we've ever been. But, you know, it's always just one wrong word away from, going left. You know what I'm saying? So it's an ongoing process that I don't know if we'll ever, fully get to a point of, where it's all good. But as a parent, you don't know how to handle it. Even as an adult child, I got an issue that I'm trying to deal with my own mother. You know what I'm saying? And my own, it's like, and I'm grown, and we got an issue that we need to deal with.
Yeah. But ain't nobody teach us this. Like, so it's like our parents came from a generation where they didn't talk about nothing half the time. They held it all in, and it shortened their life in some cases. It created greater stress, but they were taught hold stuff down. As long as I hold it down, as long as the kids can get to school, as long as they got clothes, as long as there's food, as long as they're taken care of, then I've done everything I'm supposed to do. And I got to a point, man, where I realized I was taking care of my kids, but I wasn't creating safety for them. So, yes, the bills was paid. Yes, I took care of this. Yes, the tuition was paid. Yes, I was a different kind of father than my father was, but I still didn't know all the stuff they weren't getting from me. And I could be mad about that all I want to. They're like, Daddy, I didn't get this from you. And Kay, when you talk about conversations we have to have with our mothers in particular, like I love my mom, and I still know there's conversations we haven't had. Right. But I love the growth that we're having now, because she opens to me, I open up to her, in ways that you don't have when you're younger sometimes. And sometimes we got to help our parents. I know my daughter in particular, man, if it wasn't for my daughter, there's stuff about myself I wouldn't know. So it's sometimes it's just about how as parents do we say, yes, you got to be accountable. Yes, I got to cut you off to a degree. Yes, I got to make sure you do what you're supposed to do. But at the same time, I love you. I'm here for you. I'm willing to listen to anything you have to say. Sometimes I won't even say nothing because I know as soon as I open my mouth, it's going to be the wrong thing. So sometimes I'm just going to listen. So it doesn't mean we got to choose one or the other because I got problems with these people that are so emotionally intelligent that there's no discipline. That's not the way to go either.
Well, Jeff, you said something about sometimes you got to cut them off, and that's the tough part. That's that tough love part of distancing yourself from your grown kids, and you got to let them kind of live their lives and make their own choices, and sometimes those choices can lead to mistakes. And life has to teach them sometimes, and all we can do is just kind of pray from a distance that God is watching over them, and then hopefully eventually they come back around, and then you can start rebuilding that relationship again.
No, I'm struggling with it now because you're right, you got to, but I miss the relationship, and I miss the things that providing for them brought. But I know that in the end of the day, it's not serving them. So I mean, I think what I love about this right here is I hear a lot of women have these conversations all the time. I don't hear dads have them all the time, and I know dads that are man, they are revolutionary in comparison to what their fathers were. But they struggling and they don't always have a place to talk. So I love the organizations like the Dad Gang and others, man, who create spaces for fathers in particular to be able to have these tough discussions when they struggling. Because they've been making the whole thing up from the day they started.
And you know what?
I think about my own.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeff. I just wanted to.
No, Maria, go, please. Yeah.
No, just as a mother, and I think about my relationship with my mom. I know for me, there is a line between the desire to be respectful and also the desire to say how things that she did to me and how she wasn't there for me hurt me and shaped me as the mother I am today and has given me that struggle. Yeah. So it's really hard to balance that because you want to be respectful, but you also don't want to suppress your feelings, you know?
Right. That's why I think letters are the best. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes we can sit with love and write a letter in ways that sometimes frustration and fear leads in the conversation. And so sometimes writing a letter to a parent to let them know where you are, it's also sometimes easier for them. Because like parents are like, yo, you know what I did to make sure you got to where you are and you coming to me with this?
Yeah.
Because
I used to do that,
I gave you everything. I gave you everything.
Yeah.
So sometimes they just need I'm sorry, Gary.
No, I was just saying, I used to write my parents letters. When I had problems with them, I used to write them a letter. My therapist told me to do that, so that's what really got me.
It's easier than looking at them face to face.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing about it is you don't want them to cry because that's going to make you feel bad. And then now you start changing your words of how you feel, how you really feel, and trying not to, to make them cry or whatever.
And
but
some people cry as a manipulation tool as
absolutely.
well. Emotional manipulation.
You can't have the conversation. But one thing about a letter, Gary, they can't argue with a piece of paper. They have to sit there and read it or not read it. Period, point blank. But it's really hard between creating space between you and your adult child. I'm going through it right now, and it's sad, it's hurtful. You're scared to lose, another child that you don't think is going down the right path. And I had to cut off some nieces and some nephews as well for disrespectful behavior, and I just have to get on my knees and ask God to protect them and cover them with His blood, and just keep them safe from harm, because I don't want to go through that again. But everything that we did, going out and having a good time or whatever, is killing this generation. The things that we were able to do and get away with, it's killing them. Something as simple as just going out to a nightclub or whatever is taking them out. They drinking and taking pills and doing whatever. And man, it's just not safe. And as a consequence of them getting whatever they want, they're dying from it. I'm talking about by the thousands. I'm talking about not just one city, all cities. And, you know, you got grandkids now. You're trying to protect your peace. And I don't know. I don't know, Jeff. It's almost like I just don't know. Like I'm really going through it, like right now.
Yeah.
So it's just an awkward relationship. You try not to cuss them out. Try to be, respectful. I ain't gonna say this. I ain't gonna say that. And then you can't say a damn thing.
And
a lot of times, Rick, we in it by ourselves. And it's like as much as I know you got people around you, you don't always call people and say, yo, here's where I'm at. This is what I'm dealing with. Let me run this by you. What you think about this? Here's what they said. I know I'm in the same place sometimes. And because we are good dads and because we do love our babies, sometimes we think that's enough, but it ain't. We need help.
And we all just trying.
Men. Yeah.
We all just trying. And people shouldn't be so quick to throw away or to say things like, you know, well, Tip and Tiny ain't good parents or this kid is a bad kid. Like, it's all complicated, and we all trying just to do the best we can.
When stuff hits the public, that's why when stuff hits the public, it's always hard. Because you don't have no context for this, man. This their whole life.
Right.
Their whole life in one IG Live. You don't know nothing about what they've been through, who they are, what they struggle with, what they've overcome, what they're working on right now.
And it don't matter that they're rich and famous. It don't matter. The parenting, it don't even matter.
Well, sometimes that's worse and harder. Well, let me not say that because I know some people like, man, I want that kind of harder. But the point is, man, when you live your life in the public, that is always harder because you often, you know what, you often don't grow as much because you're trying to protect yourself and you hide stuff. Growing up in the public is always difficult, and their whole family has grown up in the public. And so it's so many things we don't understand about that. But my biggest takeaway, man, if I could say anything, like dads, moms alike, find a tribe of fathers, find a tribe of mothers where you could be transparent and have these conversations. And we all know coming to this, we ain't perfect. So it ain't nobody coming to the table as a parent like, I've got it all figured out. Because the moment I hear that, you a lie. I mean, parenting is an operation in failure every single day because you're trying stuff you've never tried before and you've never seen before. And that's what makes it beautiful. But our babies need us to not only be strong and hard, but they need to know that we are human, that we have a heart, that we see their heart, and that we see them even as we hold them accountable.
That's it. Jeff, let everybody know how you could be reached. That was good. That's a good conversation today, and thank you for that.
Nah, it was just on my heart, man. Thank you for letting me run with it. Y'all hit me at Jeff's Nation on IG. I just love y'all, man. I appreciate this so much.